Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program 2, where it's a little bit dark right now, but we are currently on our way out to Bop. We are about 30 seconds away from our... what do we even call this? Our interplanetary transfer burn, perhaps? Something along the lines of that. We're going to be exiting the sphere of influence of Kerbal with this burn, and that is absolutely fine. So we're in position for the burn right now, and this is the status of the burn. That's going to take us right on out of the system and push us out to be a little bit over the orbit of Dress. That'll be an 1845 meter per second burn, and that looks absolutely fine. We've got another 16 seconds here, and I can tell, based on the fact that this video has been going for almost a minute, and I started this at 30 seconds remaining, this is definitely not 1 second per second. Okay. That is very exciting indeed. We are 10 seconds away from starting this burn, in theory. They aren't real seconds, but that's fine. Okay. 5 seconds away as of now. 4, 3, 2, 1, and mark. These are very long seconds. Okay, now I'm going to make a quick save here, just in case things go horribly, terribly wrong, because that can happen. But this is a 4-minute burn here, and I'd like to warp the burn, if we can. So we're going to bring this up and just keep an eye on the situation here. Yeah, it seems to be not broken this time. Okay, we'll just take this up to about a 50x. And we've got about 3 minutes left, 2 minutes left, 1 minute left, and I'm dropping this back down a bit. We've got about 30 seconds left in this burn now. Okay, this is roughly the amount of DV I expected to have left at this point. Although maybe that's a little less. No, I think that's a little more DV than I expected to have. I expected to have, at the end of this, like 800-ish, I think. I'd have to double check that. But we can see we're pushing this apoapsis out reasonably nicely. We've got about 15 seconds left in this burn. Excellent. We may want to clean up some of this debris at some point. That might be causing us some slowdown. I'm not sure how relevant that is, though. We'll see. For now, we've still got about 9 seconds left in this burn. They are very long seconds indeed. That's for sure. 1,200 meters per second left in this first stage. And 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm shutting down the engine there. That seems about perfect. So that looks good. Okay, so we are out of here. We are currently exiting Kerbal, and we need to get out of this sphere of influence as soon as we can. So I'm just going to warp us to here. Goodbye, Kerbal. We are out of here. Perfect. So we're now in the sphere of influence of Kerbal. That is excellent. And now what we need to do, of course, is check our inclination. I'm not sure what our inclination is looking like, but we need to go over to Jewel. So over here we go. We are, of course, going to be going to Bop. That is our target. But for now, we're going to set Jewel as our target. We just want to get into that system. So that seems good. Ascending node is 1.3 degrees. Okay, so we can definitely make a change sometime around here. And I can never remember if I need to go normal or anti-normal. Looks like it's normal. Okay, this looks good. Something like that. 208 meters per second. That sounds great. We, of course, need to get aligned. And that's going to take a little bit to get this turn done. I'm not going to make you sit through that. I will be back once we are done with this turn in just a moment. Okay, so here we are basically fully turned at this point, and let's warp on forward. We've got about an 80-day warp before our inclination change. Looks good. Now we're about 4 hours away. We'll warp a little further than that, for sure. This is going to be a 22-second burn, which is really not too bad. So we're 2 minutes away now, 1 minute away, 20 seconds, 10 seconds, and 3, 2, 1, mark. Excellent. So yeah, only 208 meters per second here. We're still going to have about a kilometer per second to do a circularization burn or a Hohmann transfer. I don't think we'll be in position for a transfer. But we're definitely going to have some delta V to throw into our circularization, which will have to happen anyway. We'll have to get that speed anyway, right? In theory, anyway. Well, 3, 2, 1... and that is basically what we need out of this burn. Let's get rid of this guy and see what we're at. Should be in theory 0.0. Yeah, that's 0.0. Okay, that looks good. So, as a hypothetical, if we were to burn at the apoapsis, what would this look like in terms of an encounter? It might be quasi-close. Emphasis on quasi. Actually, that's not bad. It's not a perfect transfer window, by any means. But we can get a transfer window here. That's a transfer window right there. Okay, so what does this end up looking like? I mean, we can dial that in quite a lot. No doubt about it. So we would want to certainly encapsulate the orbit of the Julian moons here. I do want to grab the... well, I want to go retrograde a bit here. And have it be something kind of like this. I want to still be pretty high up over Bop. We're going to have to do a pretty big inclination change. Bop is heavily inclined. So something like this is probably good enough. This will be 2 kilometers per second that we're going to need to burn here to get that. That seems absolutely fine. I'm not concerned about it at all. We are going to need to turn over to that position. And again, this turn is going to be a little bit lengthy. I'm not going to make you sit through that. I will be back as soon as we are turned. See you guys in just a moment. Okay, so here we are, just about turned. We're not quite there, but we're very, very close. And we are going to head straight on through to this burn position, which is going to be in a while, for sure. We're going to have to warp for a little bit here. But that shouldn't be a particularly big deal, in theory. Yeah, about another, in theory, 50 days, but it's actually going to be over a year. Yeah, that makes sense. I really wish that this had a year counter on it. That would be nice. There's a lot of things that I wish this maneuver node had, to be honest. But alas, it does not. This is what we've got. So we're going to warp forward another 3 hours. Looks good. Now we've got 3 minutes. Okay. 2 minutes. 1 minute. 20 seconds. 10 seconds. And 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. So fully half of this burn, or very nearly half of this burn, I should say, is our first stage here. So that's really solid. We are, of course, going to be ditching this stage fairly soon, and that will give us a huge amount of additional maneuverability, which is great. We can definitely warp through this, assuming... Ooh, hang on. I'm not seeing our apoapsis and periapsis change here. I think this display is broken. I don't think that was a problem with the actual burning while warping, although we have had issues with that in the past. Okay. We're pushing that periapsis out. Yeah. Yeah, we can definitely see that this is not changing. Okay, let's pin this open. Yeah, we're fine. This is completely okay. So let's take this up to a 10x warp here so that we can get through this a little quicker. It's going to pull us out of that warp very soon because we're almost out of fuel for this stage. That's understood. Okay. So that is absolutely fine. We just have a bit of a breakage here, which is not, I suppose... Unfortunately, that is not atypical for KSP2. We are about to have this first stage burn out, and we're going to have our stage kick over here. So right about now. And there we go. So we're going to have about a 1 minute burn right here, in theory. And that should be fine. Like I said, that was roughly half of the DV, so that looks good. And this is going to bring us out to our encounter with Jewel. So our periapsis is pushing out here, and we're just going to want to be in position here. I don't think this is going to be a tremendously quick interaction the way it has been in the past, because Jewel has a very big sphere of influence. Literally the largest sphere of influence of anything in the Kerbal system except for Kerbal itself. So I think we should be relatively clean here, but we know that this is still only a couple of meters per second. So it will be a little quick, but not tremendously quick. Not like it goes by in one frame quick. But we've got about 30 seconds until that becomes a potential problem yet. So that seems fine, and we're just looking to put ourselves in approximately an orbit like this, and I just want to check here. Yeah, in theory, Bop is going this way. And we're going to be coming in here and going out here. Yeah, so we're going to be going prograde from Bop. Cool. Sounds good. And we've got 18 seconds left in this burn. This should put us in a reasonable transfer over to Jewel. We will have to do a braking burn here. That might be I don't think it'll be that significant looking at the curvature here. But we will have to do a braking burn. And then an inclination change, which at this distance shouldn't be that bad. And then, of course, a Hohmann transfer over to Bop, which will be nice and simple. And then our orbital maneuvers there. So we've got about 3 seconds left here. Okay. Let's flip this around to retrograde. Or are we just content with this? This does encapsulate. I'm just going to call this good. It's not quite what we were angling for, but I think it'll do. So at this point, we need to warp up to about here. That's going to be in 4 years. So we're going to warp forward. Excellent. And we're just heading up to our encounter with Jewel. This is, of course, going to be a very, very long warp indeed. What was that, like, static sound? That was weird. I don't know. Maybe it's those aliens trying to communicate with us. Or I guess not aliens, but, like, sibling species? Who knows? Cool. So we're going to continue to proceed forward here. And we're going to do a braking burn sometime around here, of course, at the periapsis. It shouldn't be that bad. Like, coming down like this, I think means we have less braking burn to do, but our inclination change is going to be a little bit higher delta V than it would have been. But our Hohmann transfer is going to be a little bit cheaper, too. So it probably ends up being a bit of a wash. And ultimately, with the amount of DV that we have, I don't think it matters that much to be, like, optimal. That's kind of irrelevant. Wait, are we coming in on this side? I don't think so. Although it kind of looks like it. Should we not be coming in here and going out here? That is not what it looks like is going to happen, though. We might be retrograde from where I thought we were. So we're coming this direction. That's a little wild. Yeah, I just double-clicked on this, and these changed direction. Okay. Well, we can work with that. That is fine. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to have to do something to fix that, but we need to get into the sphere of influence here. There we go. So we're now in the sphere of influence, and we're going to minimally brake here. I was going to circularize this, but if we're going retrograde to the way... Hang on, are we? No, Bop is here. Bop should be going this way. Let's find out. We are retrograde. Okay, Bop is going this way. Right. Yes, I was reading that wrong. Okay, so that's fine. We're going to hop over to the periapsis here, and we're not going with the original plan. We're going to have to alter this a little bit. Specifically, what we need to do is we need to minimally burn retrograde here and get ourselves just barely captured by Jewel. So that is going to be something about like this. 76 meters per second. That sounds good. We're going to head on over to the maneuver marker there, and I'm not actually sure where that is at this point. I don't see the maneuver marker here right now. It's here somewhere. Apparently, the game thinks it's out over this way. Sure. Ah, there it is. Now it appears. Yeah, that's fine. So we're just going to burn minimally here because we're going to have to invert our directionality. We're currently traveling retrograde to Bop, and I don't want to be traveling retrograde to Bop. Bop is going this way. We're going this way. So I want to get that inverted, so this is just going to be an extra little step here. Shouldn't be that big of a deal, to be honest. It's absolutely fine. It doesn't take as much to invert your orbit from this position as you might think. And this here is burn that we would have to do anyway to get captured. So that is absolutely fine. This is not any amount of wasted burn, but that's fine. We're going to head right on in here. And that looks good. So we're just going to get ourselves put into a position where we are actually in orbit of Jewel. That is going to be helpful. 76 meters per second to do so. Then we're going to invert our directionality, and the question is, how far out are we going to push once we do that? Probably not super far out, I would think. Probably not. We've got 35 seconds here. Let's warp forward a little further. 20 seconds. 10. And 5, 4, 3. We can burn any time now, but 2, 1, and mark. Okay. Just throttling this down considerably because we want this to be very, very minimal. Like that. Assuming we don't have any, like, floating point rounding issues, this should be exactly where we want to be. So now at the apoapsis, we're going to want to burn retrograde. We want to flip our orbit, like so, and put it back, going the other direction. And you can see this is only like 400 meters per second to do this, and we can put it back at the same altitude that it was. So yes, this is 336 meters per second that if I had realized we were coming in retrograde, we wouldn't have to burn. But that's fine. We're just going to warp to that maneuver, and we should probably be aligned to this as well at some point. But it shouldn't be too bad. This is going to put us... Yeah, this takes a really long time to orbit up like this. It's not shocking. You can see just how slow the orbital velocity gets this high up. Yeah, 167. Not bad. So we're still a ways away, but we do need to turn. We're like 2 hours and 43 minutes away. We've got plenty of turn time here. No doubt about that. But let's just get this orbit flipped right on around. Here's a question. If we set Bop as our target, and we bring this back, would we have an encounter here? Be wild if we did. Yeah, that's way too inclined. Okay, so we're going to put this where... Hang on. This is an inclination issue, right? This is really close, actually. I think a little bit of radial might get us there, actually. Other direction on the normal? This is really going to be very challenging to hit perfectly with the maneuver nodes in this game, though. So I don't know if we'll be able to pull this off. But this is getting very close. Distance from target under 500 kilometers here. $400 kilometers. Man, I think I'm not going to go for this. Yeah. I think I'm not going to go for this one. It's just too fiddly. I think we're not going to get anything particularly good out of that. We just need to invert our directionality and put it back over here. That's all we're going to do. So we're just going to bring this guy out like so. Cool. Hang on. I want to check something. Why is this saying we're not in retrograde? Are we not in retrograde? Hang on. Am I just that dumb? This is saying we're not in retrograde right now. It's going this way. We're going this way. Yeah, we're not in retrograde. Wow. Okay. Well, that is very exciting. That's very exciting indeed. How exactly did I mess it up and then... Well, I didn't mess it up, and then I messed it up, and then I didn't mess it up again, I think, is what we've got going on here. That's wild. Okay, so we're going to need to do a little bit of maneuvers about like this in order to get our inclination correct. This is still not quite correct. I'm not sure if this is going the wrong way or not at this point. Okay, that looks good right there. So 196 meters per second for inclination, and then we're going to dial in the apoapsis. That's a little bit of a waste of time, but we didn't waste any fuel. So that's fine, I guess. Well, we kind of wasted fuel, but not really in any meaningful way. So that's okay. Wild to me that my perception of whether we were traveling retrograde or not shifted multiple times without our orbit shifting. Huh. Yeah, because BOP is definitely going this way, and we are definitely traveling the same direction. Wild. It might have been because pull is actually retrograde to the rest of these. That might have been what threw me off. I don't know. That's a weird one. I don't have too much explanation for that. Regardless, let's get this inclination change done. So we're going to warp on over here. We are, at this point, turned, and we're going to head on down. And then, once we get the inclination change done, we're going to circularize and prepare for a Hohmann transfer over to BOP. And that'll be absolutely fine. That is just wild to me that apparently my brain just completely broke. Okay. Well, you know, I guess this is part of, like... You can actually argue that this is partially KSP2's fault. In a way, in a weird way. And the reason for that is because at this point, 106 episodes into this, I have a severe distrust of what the instruments are telling us. And I think that's where some of this comes from. Well, anyway, let's warp forward here. We've got under a minute, so we've got about 30 seconds left here. 20. 10. And yeah, I don't really trust what our maneuver nodes are telling us, what any of our instruments are telling us, really. Outside of a couple specific things, like burn start timings. And directionality seems to usually be pretty good, but a lot of other things aren't. And so I have to verify it for myself. And I think that's where the second guessing comes in. So, well, that's fine. We're pretty much in position here. We've got a little bit more to burn, it looks like. Something about like that. 0.1, close enough. So we're going to hop on over to the periapsis here, and we're going to circularize this on down. So that is going to be right about here. We're just looking to encapsulate the orbit nicely. Something like that. Now, where is our destination on Bop? Down here. Okay. Noted. Well, Bop is just a rock, and we shouldn't have any particular problems with that, so we can get this done next episode. That was a weird one. No doubt about it. My head is still a little bit spinning from the multiple directionality shifts that I was doing there that we didn't actually need to do, and we never actually did. It just happened in my head. I'm going to take a bit of a break from KSP2, and we'll be back to this tomorrow. That sounds like a plan. You can leave an offering, or rather your offerings, to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Atala, Andy McGar, Ali Lee, Dark Horse, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Tommy Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time, where hopefully I'll be a little more lucid or something. I'm not sure what we've got going on there.